start, we have the CSU Air Force ROTC Wing Walker Honor Guard present the colors. And then, the high school choir led by Mr. Wallace will perform the national anthem. Afterwards, the colors will be posted. We ask you to please stand up and remain standing throughout.
Let's welcome, with our utmost respect, the Wing Walker Honor Guard and the Liberty Singers Choir, led by Mr. Wallace. We would like to thank the Wing Walker Honor Guard for that beautiful presentation of our colors. We also thank Mr. Wallace and our Liberty Singers for an outstanding performance of our national anthem.
round of applause, the music ensemble will perform America the Beautiful.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jack Friesen, and I am in the 7th grade. And now I get to introduce a special part of our character assembly, the Patriotism stories. To begin, we have one of my classmates, William Dan Howard.
Alright, so my patriotism story is not much of a story, or more as an example of how our school showed patriotism. So it all started, I rode my bike to school, and I got to the school, and I remembered that it was 9/11. And on 9/11, we raised 3 American flags at half staff. And as we were raising the flags, everyone went silent and saluted to the flag, which I thought was putting patriotism into action, as our school did on 9/11. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Ruby Common. I actually am an alumni from Ruby Common High School. I know a lot of you know that, but But the biggest thing I have to say is patriotism to me is very important. I think it's a big thing out there that they try to drill into your head. But one thing I want to mention is knowing why you're being patriotic. Know the reasons and the values that the United States of America holds and live by those values. You can go out and you'll meet people and you'll think they're patriotic, but they're just doing it for fun. They're going out 4th of July just to have a good time. They don't really understand the full importance of 4th of July and what it means to be patriotic. So really think about those values and try to live your life by them. Thank you.
And finally, we have one of our favorite teachers and veterans, Mr. Vedder.
As you all know from reading the Liberty Common Sense over the weekend, I was in the Air Force, read them. And so let me kind of tell you how that came about. And I brought notes because I can't remember if I took my Alzheimer's pill this morning. Back in when I was getting out of college, military service was mandatory for almost every male 18 and up. You had a minimum of 2 years military service was required. That wasn't my plan when I graduated. I had a degree in meteorology. That wasn't my plan. But I joined it, and I knew the Air Force needed more than people. So it was more of an obligation than it was a patriotic thing. But my first assignment was in northern Maine with Strategic Air Command. Strategic Air Command was the ones that was, they were a big stick in the Teddy Roosevelt Speak Softly and Carry a Big Stick. They had the bombers that had the nuclear bombs on them. In fact, on the base, there were 6 bombers sitting on the apron, fully loaded with nukes ready to go. Should the Soviet Union launch a first strike, they'd be on their way to retaliate. That kind of gave me a purpose. I realized this is what I wanted to do. I'm doing this for my country. It was during the Cold War. It was also during Vietnam. The military was not looked on very kindly by the public. The soldiers were spit on. They were called baby killers. All kinds of stuff going on there. But this was it for me. Then I got assigned to Europe later on, and that instilled even further my desire to serve my country. We're sitting there in Europe with 5 Army divisions. On the other side of the border were 21 Army divisions. But they didn't come, obviously, they didn't stay there. So, not everybody can stay in the military forever, so at the end of 21 years, I retired from there and started my education career, which ended up getting me here. So, next time you're doing the pledge, realize you're not pledging to a piece of cloth. You're pledging to the nation that it represents, and your way of life, and the freedoms that you have. So, when you do it proudly. Thank you.
When you look up patriotism in the dictionary, the simple definition there says that patriotism is love that people feel for their country.
The full definition says that patriotism is love for or devotion to one's country.
These definitions give us an idea of what patriotism is, but they don't tell us how to show our patriotism. Our own school has a definition for patriotism, and so far, it is the only one that implies that patriotism is not only a feeling, but an action.
LCHS says, patriotism is being dedicated to that for which the Republic stands. By this definition, patriotism is devotion and dedication to the values our country upholds, looking beyond our personal interests to safeguard the greater good for which the Republic stands. In the case of the United States, all people are created equal and free, and life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness are natural rights, which the Republic should work tirelessly to protect.
All of us are trying to learn what patriotism looks like in action, but some of us have already figured it out.
we would like to call our presenters for the Junior High and High School Capstone Awards. Please welcome Mrs. Dietrich, Mrs. Carr, and Mr. Dubzinski.
Thank you. I'm here to present the Junior High Capstone Award. And I'm giving this award to someone that has impressed me from day one. This award goes to Mr. Mark Robinson. Mark, if you can make your way to here. Okay, so Mark Robinson is an 8th grader, for all of those of you who don't know who Mark Robinson is. But from talking to Mark, you would never know this he's in the 8th grade because he's way more mature and wise than a lot of you, especially some of you that I'm looking at. In addition, Mark is incredible as a student. He's always participating, and he doesn't just participate because he knows all the answers. He participates because he wants to help others too. He is in a class where most of his peers are a lot older than him, and he is often an example for them. And Mark is very humble, so I'm sure he's not very comfortable in this position. But the reality is that Mark already knows what a true patriot should be because he acts with the best character. He is always patient, he's always fair, he's always kind. I've learned a lot from Mark. So, Mark, I am so glad that you're my student, and I'm very proud to give you this award. So let's give it up for Mark. And we have 2 high school capstone awards, so the first one is going to be Mr. Dubzinski here.
We have 2 because this young man I'm presenting this award to is not available at the last character assembly. So, would Hudson Majeski please? I have great respect for Hudson. He brings joy and sobriety to a room. And that's weird to say those 2 words together, but it really is a wonderful combination. Hudson, you know life is precious enough to take seriously and good enough to receive gratefully. And this gratitude flows from you, and it definitely shows that DG is the right house for you. I've always appreciated your respect, not just for me, but for anyone who's around you. I remember one time you meeting with me about questions you had on feedback on a paper that I graded. You were confused, a little disappointed, I could tell, and rightly so. I think I misunderstood something you were saying, but you didn't let your emotions override your commitment to listening, to learning. And I remember through that interaction that I came to understand your point better, and we achieved a greater mutual understanding about what we were talking about in the text. And that would not have been possible if you had fought with this sort of worldly sense of fairness. You lift up the people around you. You're worthy of this award. I even remember you at the pep rally talking about your cross-country team, and you said the following. You said, "We've had a great year. We've had, a lot of personal records. A school record was even broken." It was a beautiful use of the grammatical passive voice, because what you really could have said is, "And I broke the school record." But you didn't. You didn't want to take the praise. You wanted to spread it to your team. That's the sort of young man you are. So congratulations.
It is my honor and this award to the young man who told me last year, "Get over yourself, own it." Jadon Scarpella. So if you've been around me when I've been talking about this award, my colleagues have, I'm saying this because maybe it'll help me. I hope I don't cry when I read this. So, you ready? The past year has tested and proven Jadon's virtue and character. As his family has struggled through extreme circumstances, he has consistently sought the good, the beautiful, and the true to exemplify his life. He is a full-time role model for his younger siblings. I'm looking at one. A full-time student at an academically rigorous high school, and a devoted member of the Liberty Common High School cross-country team and the Mrs. Carr fan club. One of my biggest running fans. Jadon has faced each day with fortitude, not knowing what the future might hold for his family. It isn't easy to come to school each day when your family's in upheaval. And Jadon has shown justice as he strives to meet the needs of all the people around him. And it would certainly have been easier for him to be a victim of his circumstances. I'm certain that there have been days in which Jadon would have liked to have given in to fear, doubt, and self-pity, but he didn't. Temperance and prudence have been a cloak around him, and he's intentionally worn them each day. As he walks through the halls of Liberty Common High School, you should watch him. He smiles and greets many people, including me. I look forward to those times every day. And he stops to engage in conversations, which leaves me marveling at the strength of his character. Congratulations.